legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing great. I am back. We're going to be analyzing the situation for the price of Bitcoin. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. You can actually see I've been on holiday because I'm almost kind of looking like a prawn. There's a kind of a dodgy red, brown, like a tourist, right? Much love to everybody. We'll be analyzing the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Not much has done. I've been away for a week, basically, as you know. Devil's been covering on YouTube and the community mainly. And I am back. Always nice to have a little bit of a break, guys, away from the charts, okay? And I've had a great time. Hope everybody's doing great. I'll go through the comment section. I've been analyzing this morning many scenarios, also what Devil was been talking about, and just analyzing the higher time frame, mid time frame, 4-hour time frame, and the 15-minute time frame. So we'll be breaking down a little bit of what I see on the chart, obviously considering Elliott wave theory, the levels, and talk about, you know, what scenarios could we be seeing for the price of Bitcoin in the coming days. Now, not massive amount of price action has happened since I've gone. We did move down to test the lows again, so I am out from long positions. I did have some long positions open. They got stopped out at break even. I did take significant profit on this rally. Maintained a short position that was from a daily level rejection. I had to take some profits as we're testing the lows. It's the only position that I have open throughout the holidays. Basically, the swing long was stopped at break even. Now I've still remaining a bit of the swing short. Have taken some profits naturally as we've tested a low. All right, we've tested the lows below 59k. Just need to take profits down here. Not in a long position yet, but I am interested in longs without a doubt. So are we going to bounce from here? Could we manage to get a good entry? It will all be explained in today's live stream, legends. Okay, so if you do like that, smash up the like button and let's go through the comment section. Today we are going to go through even the weekly time frame, try and understand the bear market. How long do we have? What support do we have left in this area? And what bigger supports do we have sub 50k, for example, right? Analyzing the waves from the movement down the bear market from all-time high, zooming in on the daily, 4-hourly, and then 1 hour and 15-minute time frame. Okay, so stay tuned. It's going to be a long one. We have a lots to talk about, and we will start off from a higher time frame, right? To discuss, you know, waves, levels, and all sorts, as we do always. Let's say hello to the beautiful community. If you are excited for me coming back and knowing my opinion of what's going on, smash the like button, guys. If I do see the like button go to hundreds, I know that you guys are excited for me coming back. If you're not, then you probably won't smash up the like button, right? Right, okay. I know you guys are going to make fun of me being a little bit red, my mustachio. So bring it on. I'm ready. The legend is back. Devils, much love, my man. Thanks for joining and being so awesome, not only with YouTube, but with the community. Absolutely awesome updates every single day, like a legend. Devil will be taking some time off. That will be next week, by the end of this week. So I'll be covering Devils, of course. Love from India. Yesh, how are you doing? A Trader, thanks for joining. Much love to you. Thanks for joining the stream today. Lynn, he is back. Yes, I am. Phil, can we rock it from here? I think so. We got lots to talk about. Liquidity as well, right? There is some disturbing liquidity to the upside. There's no doubt about it, right? When we do take a look at the last week, last month, there's still a little bit of liquidity to chop around here at 58, 57k. Can we just sweep up the lows one more time? Longs are looking very attractive. The probabilities for the price of Bitcoin to really drop aggressively from this area, we're actually relatively low because we do have awesome levels. We tapped a daily level, which I got off the, no, it's actually still here. Daily level was tapped. We got a bounce. We still have a monthly naked point of control, right, at the 57.9k level. Daily level was respected last Thursday, getting a decent bounce of a few $1,000s, nothing too major. But this area was looking attractive, right, for some reactions to get a bounce. Okay, so we did get the first major level getting a nice bounce, which could have been decent for some gains, right, throughout the end of last week. So lots to talk about, guys, lots to talk about, new opportunities that I am looking for, and that everything will be discussed today. So stay tuned. If you are excited, you know what to do. Smash up the like button. Quick disclaimer, of course, the content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision. Neither Devil or myself, we are financial advisors. We just give our own opinion and analysis and show you what we are doing. Okay, see if it fits with your own analysis. Let's go. Comment section, guys. I need to cover the comment section because I'm happy to say hello to the wonderful community. Yo, what's up? Market M, how you doing, my man? Thanks for joining the stream. Andy, the main man. Emani, hello. Good morning, legends. Rico, Bolakun, hi, Andy and legends. Ilrich, hey, what's up, fam? Olivia, how you doing, my man? Hey, hi, hello, Andy. Andy, my man, you look rested and ready for charting. Yes, sir. Thanks for joining. Hey, good to see you again. Christian, how are you doing? Wonder how and short is doing. Short trade, that is, I guess. Yeah, no longs. Had a long at the 59k level. If you were watching the content throughout the last week, 1 to 2 weeks, you guys know that I was long from this area. And short, I didn't manage to catch the top here. We actually got into a short on a stream. I actually got into a short on a stream, which was a daily rejection from here, which was looking very attractive to get in. A lot of resistance. It was the golden pocket. It was a daily level. We were very much aware of this being a 3-wave finished corrective structure. So, as we're downtrending, we've got a bit of local bearish market structure. We want to try and get into the 1-2s, right? For example, if it is going to be 1-2s, major bounces at resistance. And that was the main short trade that I literally took about 10 days ago. It's the only trade that I had open, no trading throughout the week. CBM Mattia came to visit. We went to watch some tennis, played tennis, go on excursion, kayak, beach, great lunch dinners, right? And catch up with Mattia, who's a good friend of mine who lives in Dubai, of course. And just chilling, really, no charts at all. He did do some updates, but I did not. I wanted a full week not knowing anything about Bitcoin. And obviously, nothing changed. I still remain in the short. I got stopped out at break even on a long on gold. Did take some profits on that, and the rest of the position got stopped out. So the only remaining position that I have is this short. So I want to get in, we can look at some scalps today. Okay, scalping zones for the next coming hours, but mainly higher time frame. I'm really wanting to get into a swing long here, and how, it does look like that the lows can be claimed again, in my opinion. Okay, I think the lows are likely going to be claimed. That's at 58k. So I'm particularly not interested in a long trade right now. I'm in the lower time frame. This does not look great. You have to fit some kind of diagonals here for this to be something bullish, which is possible. It is possible, don't get me wrong, but you can fit some kind of a diagonal here, which will be explained on the lower time frame. But it just does look very choppy, very corrective. And I think that these lows are likely going to be claimed at some point. So if the probabilities suggest that the lows could be claimed, I want to take along once the lows are claimed, hitting a good support level, right, which we do have down here, the monthly level at 57.9. I think that level is very important. If we lose it, then we have to look at other levels to the downside. And I need to see something impulsive to the upside, right, that looks promising, and a very corrective correction, right, to the downside, like a flag wedgie structure, which I can see the high probability that this is corrective to jump into a long trade. We do not have that, right? That's the thing. We do not have a clear impulse from the lows. It's all diagonals and very messy and very overlappy, which is valid. All right, diagonals are very valid, but they're just lower probability, so not feeling it. Anyway, we'll be jumping on the higher time frame first of all, guys, because there are some very interesting supports and waves and scenarios that I need to discuss. It's going to be a long one today. I think it's definitely going to be a few hours of stream because there's a lot of information that I want to go through, especially the higher time frame. I haven't done high time frame for a few weeks, easily 2-3 weeks, maybe a month even on the higher time frame. So we need an update on the higher time frame, right? We always try and do lower time frame and look for scalps and little moves, right? See if we can make some little quick gains. But higher time frame is important to understand the context. I missed you, Bayand. I missed you guys too as well. Spanish mustacho. Yes, sir. Yes, it is. I got the mustacho on me and looking a little bit. It's like almost like a fake tan because it's a little bit red. I have been in the sun for a few days, as you can see. So, wow, the mustache. Yeah, I made it a little bit of a different style. Matthew made him grow a mustacho. Yes, correct. That is right. I got the mustacho. It's a pity that Mariella is not here because Mariella loves my mustacho. She'll be joining at some point, I guess, in the next coming days. Naive, how are you doing? Mark Dutch, thanks for joining the stream. Hi, Andy. Good to see you again. Good to see you guys as well. I missed you, but I also enjoyed a little bit of a break, guys. You know that I'm, YouTube every day, community, and looking for trades. And sometimes, you want to take a little bit of a rest, right? We're going lower, boys. It does look like, I do think at least test the lows at below 58k seems reasonable. You're looking brown. Yeah, the brown is kicking in. Still a little bit reddish, right? Like a prawn. That's what you say here. Como una gamba. Está rojo como una gamba. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's that red. But anyway, who cares? Smash the likes and have a great day. Everyone missed you, mate. Sky, thanks so much. All right, guys. Maxi, Simon, Sky. Much love to everyone, okay? Hi, Andy. We miss you. Lumina, I'm back. Okay, we are back. What's next BTC dip point will be? What next BTC dip point will be? We're gonna mustachi. Yes, Mark, much love. Tennis was great, James. Mattia does have a little bit more of an edge. He's 10 years younger than me, and he's very athletic, but we do play very well together. He did beat me most of the days, but it's not too far off, right? It's more like a 6-3, a 6-4 on the set. So, but he does have that edge of energy. So yeah, just he's a stronger guy than myself, but we did very well. Missed you, man. Sweet vamos. Much love to you. Missed you too. Let us hear your TA. Exactly, Patrick. That's why you guys are here. So, weekly time frame. I mean, yeah, let's just zoom out a little bit here and let's get some moving averages on the chart. Only joking. We're not going to get any moving averages. There was only one, which is the anchored VWAP. Surprisingly, the anchored VWAP from the bear market low is literally very close, right? We like anchored VWAPs. When we do take a look at the anchored VWAP from all-time high and the bounces that we've had in the relief rallies, right, of the bear market, I mean, we know that anchored VWAP from a major pivot, and there's no bigger major pivot on Bitcoin than the actual all-time high and the bear market low from 2022. Right? There's no bigger pivots than those. Well, I mean, we could go further back and get the pivots from the start of Bitcoin, right? But overall, just interesting to see that we are literally dollars away from hitting the anchored VWAP of the bear market low of 2022. We know that anchored VWAP from a major pivot is important, right? The relief rallies that we did get through the previous months, we got a rejection here. We missed it here by literally dollars, And we got a couple of rejections as well in this zone, right? We can't see it now, obviously, on the weekly time frame, but you know it's a pivot that could get a bounce. And when we combine Elliott wave theory with this price action, there is actually a scenario that gives us a decent bounce, right? We're talking about a flat. You know, is it possible that we form a flat here? Well, based on the price action that we have, right, throughout throughout February, basically till today, there is a chance for a flat. There is a chance. So we are going to consider that. There is also a local flat, which is possible. Very, very locally, looking at the lower time frames, looking at the 4 hourly time frame. Basically, there's a flat scenario here. There's lots of support at the 58, 57K. And it is getting some little teeny weeny relief, right, last week on that daily level. We still got the monthly point of control that is not being hit. Anybody that is asking about this monthly point of control, it's the September 2024 monthly point of control. When we do zoom back into 2024 price action, where we formed this massive flag, very, very confusing WXY kind of structure here. We were bullish, guys, back in the day, right? We were in a bull run, but it just extended for many, many months. But we understood this is some kind of WXY getting developed, and we are looking for the highs to be claimed. Anyway, that's old news, but anyway, I just remember this range very, very well. So yeah, September's price action here. We got a monthly, right, high volume node basically from September of 2024, which hasn't been hit yet, right? I think it's a pretty relevant. Monthly point of controls are much stronger, right, than a daily point of control or even a weekly point of control, which is strong on its own. Monthly point of control, yeah, you can assume that a possible bounce could happen from that zone. Will it be a bounce of several $1,000s, or will it be a bounce of $500, right, just for a quick scalp? But it's a good level that I would want to get into a long position, right? Just like the daily level that got a reaction here last Thursday, right? Last Thursday we did get a nice little reaction of $2,000 from that daily level, right? I need to take this off the chart now, but anyway, just so you can see that we did get that reaction. So can we form some kind of a double bottom here, right? It might be another lower high. That's something that we need to be aware of, but we do know that a bounce in this region is very attractive, right? We knew last week that it could be attractive. We did get the bounce. It's still looking attractive today, right? Will we hit it today? Will we hit it tomorrow or in a few days, right? Or will we not hit it as of yet, and we, you know, form a larger relief range before that level is hit? I don't know if it's going to be hit today or tomorrow. I just know it's a good level, right? Monthly naked point of control, which we missed last Thursday by a couple of $100, not even that. So yeah, it's just a very, very interesting zone. Anchored VWAP from the bear market low of 2022 is coming in that zone as well. Now, does this mean that this would be the low of the bear market, right? We'd hit the level, we try and break the anchored VWAP in the monthly and the daily, and we reclaim it, right? Would it, you know, this does not mean it's just a zone where the price can get a reaction and it can relief. Will the relief be strong enough to have a few weeks of relief or just a few days of relief? That's something that we do not know. But does it mean, oh, it's the anchored VWAP, this could be the bear market low, right, after the reclaim? Well, when we look at history with the anchored VWAP from the previous bear market low, it didn't end up well. We got a small reaction, bear market low, which was in 2018, December. You can see, right, that we crossed the anchored VWAP, right? It did get one perfect reaction. This is the anchored VWAP from the 2018 bear market low. Little reaction here, but overall breaking it, reclaim it. We had the C19 crash, obviously, in March of 2020. So, that was a black swan event. And then later on, throughout the bear market, right, of 2022, we got a pretty instant reaction at the anchored VWAP from the bear market low. It's just interesting to see. Did it mean it was the bear market low? Absolutely not. This was through the summer of 2022, right? This was actually in May. Well, just like, a few weeks before the summer. Massive reaction bounce from the anchored VWAP of the previous bear market low, which was in December of 2018. You could clearly see that it was only a relief. It was a relief rally of the bear market. We continued with a lower high and broke it. But after breaking that anchored VWAP, after getting the major drop, we slowed down. Right? We eventually know, based on historical data, that we would be coming soon to the bear market lows, right, in the next few months. That is, if we do follow the 4-year cycle theory. Will the 4-year cycle theory get broken in this bear market? Well, we want to follow the data, obviously, right? Follow the history of the cycles. And for the moment, I would really believe that the bear market low, would be throughout Q3, Q4 of this year. September, October, November, right? That's what we don't really know. If we want to go with a full 1-year cycle bear market, it's from October to October, right? So a lot of people believing that October would be the month where Bitcoin bottoms out. It's still very speculative, but that's following the 4-year cycle theory. So just wanted to point out the anchored VWAP from the previous bear market. Nice relief rally of $5,000 to $6,000. So it was a pretty decent relief rally from the anchored VWAP of the bear market low of 2018. With a $6,000 bounce, if you longed that anchored VWAP, gains could have been pretty interesting. So right now, what do we have with the previous anchored VWAP from the bear market low? We are literally a few $100s away from it. And it's in, confluence with the monthly naked point of control of September of 2024. I just really think that this could be a very, very good zone to get a bounce from. I would love that anchored VWAP to be tapped. Monthly naked point of control is a few $100s above. Anchored VWAP right now is where we have the daily level as well at 57.3. One more daily level there. Monthly naked point of control. Will it manage to pierce through the monthly naked point of control and then reclaim, get a larger bounce for the next coming days and weeks? Will we miss it? Get a relief from the monthly naked point of control, one more low to hit that anchored VWAP of the bear market and then get the stronger relief rally? Nobody knows, but overall it is a very, very strong, powerful zone to get that bounce. And we need to remember that this zone where we have this monthly naked point of control of 2024 was a reaccumulation. This is a demand zone, right? If you form a range and you move to the upside, it's demand, right? Price does not go up if there's no demand. So it's a demand zone. People were very interested in buying BTC here at this 50 to 70k zone, right? Naturally, what one first major bounce here back in February from 60k to 80k, major reaction bounce because of this demand zone. So we are back down here testing the lows, and if you do not break a major low where there's been a demand zone and it chops around, this could be a small little reaccumulation area. So double bottoms, looking for anchored VWAP, daily, monthly naked point control, tap and go kind of thing, or a local double bottom. They're just very attractive. There is a good chance of getting a bounce. Now, of course, what is our best tool? Our best tool is our risk management. I'm in no longs now. I'm talking about such an interesting area to get a bounce. And you might think, well, why aren't you long already, right? I want those lows to be tested. And it all comes to the Elliott wave theory on the lower time frames, 1 hour, 15 minute, which we will break down today. So just so we can have an edge, right, on the probabilities of the internal waves, to see what we could expect, right, for the next coming days to get into that long, hopefully, right, little swing long for the bounce. I'm already in that short, so that's going to be a good hedge, right? Always nice to be in a short hedge, right? Hedge long, right, if you're looking for shorts. So I'm going to leave some of that open so I can be defensive, right? If I get stopped out of the long, I'm going to cover a little bit with the short that I have till I actually manage to get into the very, very good long position. So interesting area when we consider this major level. And let's break down a little bit of Elliott wave theory. So if we were to break down the anchored VWAP, the monthly naked point of control, there is a possibility of breaking it $1,000 or $2,000 and then getting a reclaim later on. The next major level to look at, because you know how I trade. If I want to catch the bottom, catching the bottom, you need incredible responsibility with your risk management. Incredible. Because if you're trying to long here, a double bottom from this 80K level that we formed in November of 2025, if you are not responsible with your risk management and you get into a long or you add to the position and you do some, irresponsible trading, you're going to get hurt. I got hurt many, many times in the past. Not anymore. These things are irrelevant for me, right? So we want to manage risk naturally, right? And you know how I like to trade. We lose either the anchored VWAP or the monthly naked point of control unless I have another level. This for me is a no trade zone. I will not be in a long position if price action is below these levels once they are hit. It's just a very, very hard rule that I need to follow, because if I don't follow that hard rule, I'm going to be emotional. I'm going to believe it's going to reclaim it even though the price loses the level, right? I'm going to add long here. I'm going to add to the position because the price needs to bounce, right, at some point. None of that nonsense. If you lose a level, it's just not looking great. It could actually be back tested out of resistance and then continue down, right? So this needs to be tap and go kind of thing, right? Maybe a little double bottom, but this is the zone. Alert set on the phone. I am ready for the next coming weeks. I want to get into this long position at the best level possible with the best risk management possible, of course. And this is a guideline zone. This zone here where we have the daily level, monthly naked point of control, you can see them on the chart. Okay, the levels are marked here on the right side. And the anchored VWAP from the 2022 bear market low, right? Which is, it's nice. We do have history, we have data that anchored VWAPs from these major pivots, they tend to get a reaction or a fake out from the high back beneath the anchored VWAP, relief rally, right, in the bear market, which took many, many months here, rejection. So yes, we are in bear market still, and that's why we need to be very defensive with our long decisions, right? So anchored VWAP from the bear market low, I like the level. What's history suggested at this bear market low, anchored VWAP? Well, inside of the bear market in the middle stages, we did get a pretty decent relief. So I like that as, historical data from anchored VWAP from the bear market low. So we need to consider it, right? Needs to be considered. And we know that we can bounce here from this 58, 57K area. If that level is lost, I'm not interested in getting into the long. This would be a swing long, because I understand that a bounce of a few $1,000s is definitely possible. We got a local flat possibility. We do have the larger flat possibility. It's still possible that we do form a larger flat here. So on looking at Elliott wave scenarios, we do have an unfinished impulse. This can be very much counted as an impulse down, where you have your wave 4 and 5, potentially your latest 4-5, or there is a possible count to get a couple of 1-2s here, and you have 4-5 and a cheeky little bounce and the 4-5, and this is the one that gets the larger relief, right, throughout the next coming weeks. Lots of Elliott wave scenarios suggest that this could be a bouncing zone based on the ABC flat, based on the local ABC flat, based on the 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4-5, 4-5 larger bounce. Okay, so we'll I'm just doing the drawing now just to be quick, because we're on the levels at the moment, but we'll break down a little bit of the Elliott wave scenarios here, because they look incredibly interesting. They do look very, very nice, especially considering that the largest move down that we had in the last few weeks happened in this area, right, between 72 and 59k. That's the major drop with high volume, which would suggest that we would unlikely, not impossible, it would just suggest that unlikely we get such an aggressive drop like this caliber right over here down here. It's not impossible, but not as of yet. I would believe that either a flat is going to develop, or we finish our 4-5s here and get a bounce and then maybe drop lower. But overall, because we had this a few weeks ago, could we get the same strength breaking down this zone? You're going to have to need a lot of selling pressure to break down this area, especially once we got this movement down with high volume from last week. Well, yeah, around about last week, right? 2 weeks ago. This is the daily time frame. I'm just so used to looking at the 1 hour or even 4 hour. This was 2 weeks ago. So we're going to break that down in detail to understand the waves, the projection, Elliott wave, Fibonacci, and realize, how low can we go if we are looking for either for an ABC flat or the end of an impulse, right? So we'll break that down obviously once we finish with the levels here, which I'm pretty much done. But if we were to break down this area where we have the anchored VWAP and the monthly naked point of control, right, from this reaccumulation demand zone, this is a buying zone, right, in the past in 2024, coming down to a demand zone can make that demand come back, right? So what is the next level? Well, I think the most important one is a weekly level. There is a weekly level from this 2024 price action, which is coming down a couple of $1,000s lower, just under 55k. I have to say I'm not interested unless I'm looking at the 5-minute time frame on looking at Elliott wave theory, right, and getting ready for a bounce in the middle of no man's land, which obviously will be shared if I am active and confident in taking along, which is outside of this zone, inside of the trading community. Okay, if you are interested, shoot me a DM. Of course, I'll be very active throughout the next couple of weeks, of course, inside of the trading community, looking for these trading setups. Okay, send me a DM down below and I'll share the instructions. So this box right over here, I'm particularly not that interested, between 57.3 and 54.8, okay, in getting in and having a long position here. So it's either a tap and reclaim long in zone, right, stop loss at the low for a larger bounce, or it break the lows, break this massive support area. If there's no reclaim, of course, then the next level would be the weekly, and this is really for a larger rangy bounce for the next few weeks into the summer. Okay, so 54.8k, we have a weekly level. But then I'm not going to talk about, well, let's talk about, remember, these levels are guidelines, right? We break anchored VWAP and the monthly naked point of control. Not interested. This is a box of no trade zone for me. Next level would be the weekly. And, you know, if I had to put a level in as a strong level for a bounce, there's no doubt it would be that wick low that we had in 2024. Okay, which is sitting at 49k basically, right, for that SFP. This is such an obvious reactionary low, and it's all about setting the alerts, right? We got so many levels. We'll talk about the bearish levels, of course, and the bearish scenarios, but the fact that we're already down here, we should have been taking shorts throughout the last couple of weeks, or even last week, right? The short that was explained here on a stream at the 65k area. You want to short these bounces at levels of resistance, right? Looking for shorts down here. I'm more interested in longs eventually, right? Shorts should have been taken on the bounces. But now that we are testing the lows at sub 59k, you know, getting ready for bounces and longs is very, very attractive. So yeah, shorts, it's going to be difficult, but I will explain a few shorting scenarios once we finish. Well, once we get the Elliott wave theory, of course, right, and some scenarios here for a lower high and test the lows again, right? But as we at such a critical demand area, we've tested the lows already from February, sub 59k, and the amount of support that we have here is insane. Looking for shorts is not looking that great anymore. Okay, throughout the last few months and weeks, yes, but at the moment, with the current price action that we've developed, right, throughout the last few weeks, we at the lows, right, below 50 at 59k. So shorts are no longer looking that great for the moment until we get a very, very, very corrective, rangy relief, right, which we understand. Okay, guys, you know, it's likely going to dump, but that's not the case at the moment. We only just tested the lows in the last, you know, couple of days. So anyway, that's that. Okay, obviously this SFP at 49k, I don't think we're going to go down there anytime soon, at least in the coming days, but it's very much a relevant level because it's from a massive, you know, rangy reaccumulation demand zone. The low for an SFP at 49k is very, very attractive, even if it is for just a local bounce of a couple of $1,000. There's no doubt in my mind that I would want to long an SFP at 49k. We're very far away from that level, so just to be ready, right? We're doing high time frame. You want to mark those levels, get ready, guys. Okay, I know some people want now, what's happening now? I want to get into trade now. We'll get to the lower time frame, but it's always good once every 2 weeks to zoom out, remember the levels, remember the zones that are interesting for a reaction and a possible trading setup, right? Anchored VWAP with a daily and a monthly naked point of control, weekly level, and the SFP, right, from 49k. We ain't going to talk about lower levels. We'll have time for that if we do continue to the downside, but we'll leave that for a higher time frame update in the next coming weeks, I would say, because that's already very far away down here at the low 40k levels, right? Not relevant for the moment. So right, anchored VWAP's done, levels, weekly, naked point of controls, major SFP from the reaccumulation, that's sorted. And now let's just clean up the chart and go through the comment section. We're going to break down some Elliott wave scenarios and the levels of resistance, of course, maybe for some shorts, but I think understanding Elliott wave theory at this point, with the movement down from 82.7k basically, and understanding this also since February lows and the entire structure is important. to understand, if we're looking at Elliott wave theory, of course, to see, you know, is it high probability that we just dump down to 40k, or is it higher probability to range and get some relief rallies soon? And I would say obviously range and relief rallies soon, it makes a lot of sense. It's here when you want to become bearish, right? It's when you have a bit of more information, structure, you're downtrending, movement up looks corrective. We had many scenarios here for an ABC. We knew that the 1-2-1-2 was low probability. I think there was a diagonal here as well that was low probability. So, you know, this is the zone that you want to be a little bit bearish, without a doubt, but not when you've tested the lows, because the lows is your main target when you want to short a bounce in the bear market, right? This is your target. So this becomes interesting for shorts. Shorts down here as a swing do not look that great. So we're going to break down a little bit of higher time frame Elliott wave theory. Going to keep it simple, nothing too complex. There's nothing very complex at the moment. It's all very impulse or you know, and finishing either a double zigzag, which is possible, but I think it's not the case. And what kind of price action can we develop, of course, from February lows? Okay, so stay tuned for that. Let me just say hello to the people here in the comment section before we dive in through the Elliott wave scenarios that I see on the higher time frame, right? If you do see something relevant, Bybit, BTC, US dollar tether touched the anchored VWAP already from the previous bear market low. That is interesting, without a doubt. Okay, I think we could reach it on Coinbase, but it's just the bounce that we do have right now on the lower time frame. Looks kind of so-so, right? Looks kind of so-so. There is a local bullish case to get this. Okay, we'll discuss that without a doubt, and the very local price action. On Binance, VWAP is at 54k. Yeah, I mean, the higher time frame VWAPs can differ a few $1,000s if you look at it on the weekly time frame on a few exchanges, because there is slight difference on price action on the exchanges. Mainly futures and spots, they are very different. We've got many liquidity wicks on futures, right? So overall, it is coming down to this mid 55k area, that anchored VWAP, right? Joan, my man, much love to you. Thanks for joining the stream. Wayne, evening. How are you doing, my man? Good to have you back. Trust you had a great time off. I did. Yes, indeed, my man. Very much needed. Very active throughout the last months and years, and a nice week off in the summer is very much appreciated. Okay, God bless. Never sold since 97. Got ADA and Link as well from high. Right. Videos posted hours ago, Andy. He's arguing with proof that the bear might be in. Very good video. That guy timed the top of the bull perfectly. He's the best. Okay, interesting. Jane Backer's video posted hours ago. He's arguing with proofs that the bear might be in. The bear low, right? Could be in. Interesting. We're also close to the golden pocket start of the bull market. Very interesting. That should be on the logarithmic. Yeah, golden pocket. Very close from the bear market low. It's also pretty relevant. Golden pocket from the bear market low of 2022. Logarithmic here would be best to apply because of the price action. That's the thing. But if you're going to use regular scale, when you zoom out on the daily or the weekly it is suggested that you use log scale, but it is 382 is there basically also at the 56-57k on log scale. When the percentage is so large, log scale is best. But yeah, taking into consideration regular chart, it is true that we also have the golden pocket, right, from the bear market low to to the range here at 57k. Interesting to know in that the golden pocket is in that demand zone, right? This is a very, very nice area with no doubt to get a bounce, okay, on the higher time frame, right? Regardless how many times we chop the lows or not. It's just an interesting zone when we consider confluence. So much love. I'm just going to take a drink. Not easy to get there, BL. Visit it, drink it. Okay, show us TA on small time frame, please. Patrick will be zooming in on the lower time frames, okay? I know a lot of people here want lower time frames. We're going to make this a long stream, okay? There's lots to talk about. We'll be zooming in on the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. No, there will be information based on this zone and the local zone of the last 1 to 2 weeks, okay? But it's important. I know. Don't worry, we'll break that down. I'm going to look to timestamp this stream, higher time frame, mid time frame, low time frame, right? So for the people that are interested, can just go straight away into the time frame they want. Right. Edit wave theory, right? Interesting. Someone said, suggesting that the bear market low is very, very close to being in. It could. There is one Elliott wave theory here that would suggest that bear market low is coming close, right? You can always fit a bearish and bullish Elliott wave scenario. One would have higher probability than the other, of course. But overall, Elliott wave theory, if we were to come into the bear market low, which a lot of people would disagree, I would assume. Let me just do a quick poll before we continue here. Is the bear market low near? I'm just going to put yes, no, it is sub 50k, and no, it is sub 40k, right? Get your votes in. Is the bear market low near, guys? And just would be interesting to see how people, are you very bearish? No, Mark Dutch, yeah. Are you feeling just a little bit bearish, right? Test the lows a little bit more, mid 50s. No, we actually go down below 50k, right? Or no, sub 40k, right? We even going below sub 40k, so no bear market lows near. Just because we have so many different opinions, and someone was suggesting that, somebody on YouTube was saying that with proof, right? With proof. Multi-year bear market. I'm a little bit in that camp also, Mark, where what if this is a multi-year bear market, right? The 4-year cycle theory is broken already, and we do enter a multi-year bear market, which could be rangy as well, but we just don't see all-time high for many years. It's an option as well, right? It is an option. So no, obviously, would be for a multi-year bear market, right? Rangy. And anyway, stock market haven't even corrected yet. That is very true. Very true. We haven't seen a major bear market on the stock market for a long time, right? So, Elliott wave theory, looking at this zone, and it does suggest, looking at Elliott wave theory as well, from all-time high, that breaking down aggressively from this zone where we are at the moment would be lower probability when we consider many of the Elliott wave scenarios. The most bullish one would be that we are close to the bear market low. This is one that I do not favor, but I know it is possible when we do consider Elliott wave theory. This would be a WXY double zigzag, which the Y wave is extremely longer than wave W in time. Okay, so this would be W. Naturally, you need to fit in a ABC, which is possible. You just have a weird sideways B wave here, which you can fit a sideways WXY on its own for this B wave, okay? But you would have to fit some kind of a zigzaggy structure here. B wave would have to be a sideways WXY. And you have your corrective move naturally here for your wave X. If you claim the lows, we understand it is a correction. And then you have your latest ABC zigzag, which it's kind of attractive because this is kind of a classic impulsive move where you have either just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it, we finished, or we have a couple of 1, 2s, you got your 3 and a couple of 4, 5s, which 1, 4, 5 is sorted already. So you look for a larger range bounce for your next wave 4 and then the wave 5, right? And then that's the bounce, right? So what is interesting about this bullish case to suggest that the bear market low is in, which is out of whack, right? It's like, come on, man. You've been doing weird things in your holiday. You're talking about bear market lows right now. It's just a suggestion as it is possible. I don't think this would be the correct count. Your wave Y is very, very long in time compared to your W zigzag here. So you got ABC zigzag and W, your corrective move in wave X, and now your zigzag ABC, double zigzag WXY, right, as the name says, which you do have from this point. Red flags, your wave Y is way, way longer in time than your wave W. When we look at Fibonacci targets from the all-time high to the low of this potential zigzag to the top of your wave X, your common target has not been hit. Maybe on logarithmic, I mean, I'm not used to doing higher time frame, and you need to switch to log scale when you're looking at daily time frame, weekly time frame, and you're looking at massive percentage moves, over 20% moves. You should go to log scale, okay? When it's 1 hour, 15-minute time frame, regular chart, naturally, of course, with the smaller percentage moves. But technically, right, on log scale, we are coming in at the target zone 1-to-1 to the 1236, which we are literally in the middle. If we were to consider this being a double zigzag WXY, zigzag down W, correction in wave X, which is nice and long, that's something that you like to see, and then your zigzag here, which is very, very long for your wave Y. Common target for a double zigzag WXY is the 1-to-1 to the 1.236 extension of your wave W, right, which is this one right over here. So yeah, you know, we are in the common zone for the low to be created if this were to be a WXY double zigzag, right, between 62 and 55k. That is the common zone, right, for this scenario. Bounces are looking great from this area below 59k, okay, and that all has to do with the lower time frame, which will be explained now in, you know, give me 15-20 minutes maybe. We're gonna want to cover a few scenarios here on the higher time frame, but it's all because of this movement down that it looks very, very attractive to look for bounces, double, triple bottom, whatever. It just looks very attractive based on the information that is given throughout the last few weeks on this drop, okay, which will be explained now in a bit, guys. When, I don't know, but it will be explained today when we zoom in on lower time frames, okay? So we're just going on higher time frame speculative scenarios. Do I think that this is the bear market low very, very near? I don't think so. Do I know it's possible? Yeah, absolutely. Is it a possibility? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so. So are there any technical reasons to believe it could happen? Yes, basically this one, right? So Let's move on to other scenarios. And the most aggressive one, of course, which would be an insane ABC to the downside, which we would be looking at this movement down as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, as so, with an impulse, basically, with an extended 5th wave, you can fit a nice 5-wave move with an extended 5 wave that happened here with the major capitulation, of course, that we had in January into February of this year. Nice long corrective ABC, which we were very much in favor throughout the previous months in March and April. We were very, very heavily in favor of this being a 3-wave corrective move to the upside. You didn't have any major impulse. It was very overlappy, and this was the highest probability naturally in the bear market. We had one bullish scenario on the higher time frame, which was a 1 2 1 2, right? And the probabilities were lower for a double 1 2 in this case, right? And massive breakout in a wave 3. We weren't really in a bear market, right? We weren't really favoring that scenario. There were some red flags. Your second wave 1 was longer than your first wave 1, and it was actually confirmation in this zone where we had low probability, as well as wave 2 was getting also longer in time and price action. So anyway, going back through this, clear ABC 3-wave structure to the upside, which would suggest most bearish case scenario, this being a wave 1, right? As Mark Dutch here was saying in the comment section, multi-year bear market where we just starting an impulse in a wave A, right? We this would be brutal because you have a wave 1, wave 2, you're developing your wave 3, your first wave of the wave 3, so a bounce here would be natural, but then you form an impulse down to finish 3, then your 4, and then 5, and only this, right, would be your wave A, right, which would be insane. If we're talking about a multi-year bear market, right, you just finishing the impulse, right, throughout the next coming months for a wave A, meaning that you still need your B and you still need your C, right, or a larger corrective structure. Anyway, we could go through many scenarios, but this would be the most brutal one, of course, that you have a wave 1 to the downside and this is a wave 2, and we're just developing the first wave of your wave 3, right, which could be pretty brutal. There's the other one that I would believe would be the one based on 4-year cycle theory and based on the demand that there would be buying Bitcoin at lower prices, of course, is just a general ABC. Your A wave is done and your B wave here would be done as well. You got your other scenario, which is a larger ABC flat for your wave B, right, to then only break down in the impulse for your wave C, right? But the closest one here that we have right now, if we're counting this as a wave 1, you want your 2, naturally your 3, 4, 5, and that's literally coming to look at a classic bear market on Bitcoin, right? Your wave A, your wave B, and now we're just in the beginning, middle stages, right, where we finished a wave 1 of your C wave, right, that could take us down to 50, 40k sub, right, in the next few months. And this would just be a classic 4-year cycle bear market for Bitcoin. I have to say this would be my kind of favorite scenario when I go with historical data, an impulse down. I think it's reasonable to believe that this is one of these scenarios that could be looking as normal from the previous cycles, right? When we take a look at the all-time high drawdown here, where we've had on the previous cycles 83, 85, 84, 77% drawdown from all-time high, and now we're currently just at 53. Yes, the drawdowns are less and less as the market does mature, right? There's more liquidity, there's institutional interest, and you can see that the previous bear markets, right, we've gone from 80% to 70 odd percent, and it would make sense that this cycle would be 60 to 70% drawdown. We've only completed a 53% drawdown from all-time high, so another 10 to 20% would not be abnormal, right? Getting down to 50k, even 40k would be like, chill. You know, this is exactly what has been happening in the past, right? There would be no surprise. Why? Because it's happened throughout the previous cycles, right? In the last 16 years. So I mean, based on historical data and the 4-year cycle theory, when we take a look at the higher time frame scenarios, you know, this would not be, we take all-time high to this range at 40k, it's a 68-70% drawdown coming to the end of the year, right? Be it October. I mean, this is just drawings, right? But it's just to basically understand what's happened in the past. You know, this is something that you would say, okay, this seems roundabout right. That is what's forming for Bitcoin, right? Just an ABC. Your A wave is done, your B wave is done. Now we've only developed our first wave, coming to the end stages possibly, right? Forming a bounce, local rangey bounce in the next couple of weeks, just to get a bigger drop, right? Maybe in August, maybe in already end of July, right? To form that wave 3 to the end of the summer possibly, and then for September, October to form that bottom formation at a 70% drawdown, which would be normal, right? The drawdown from the previous bear markets were insane. 85, 84, 77 in the previous one. So this is kind of conservative, right? Looking for 70% drawdown is kind of conservative, right? That would take us down to the 40k region. Still conservative, right? So nothing too crazy when we take a look at this as one of the main scenarios considering Elliott wave theory. That's, you know, this would be the main scenario. Obviously there's the extreme bearish one, which would be the multi-year bear market, but we're not going to speculate on that. It would just be pretty brutal. Has been explained just before this scenario. Extending the correction here is very much also a possibility. You have to fit some kind of a corrective move. This does look more impulsive, so it is a little bit difficult to believe that an ABC flat here would be possible, just because the movement down as we speak does look better as an impulse formation. You can fit a correction, and that's what we would get into now on the lower time frames, and looking at the levels and the setups, right, that I would be looking for, zooming in you know, to the 4-hourly 1-hour time frame. Okay, so let's stick with that at the moment. Higher time frame scenarios has literally been covered. Those are the two. The most bullish one being the WXY double zigzag. Red flags, your Y is very, very long compared to your wave W. The normal one, the impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for an A wave, zigzag and B, and now you're still forming. This would be a very shallow C wave. The thing is, you do have an impulsive formation here. This would be extremely cheeky and rare. Well, that's also one scenario. A wave, red flags for this. C wave is usually longer or similar in size than your A wave. But this is why looking for longs is looking interesting here, right? As explained. And mainly because of the lower time frame. So we'll break that down now in the next couple of minutes. Yeah, let's finish with the higher time frame, and it's time to zoom in on the 4-hourly time frame. And we'll be relatively quick to be jumping into the 1 hour time frame and look at this range over here, guys. 1 hour 15 minutes, which we are going to be focusing at least an hour on the stream to get the levels, the waves, and the trading setups that I would be looking for. Okay, for an easy hour, I would say, at least, when we start diving in through this range and the 15-minute time frame. There's a lot of information, a lot of waves, lots of overlap, lots of different structure, main levels to take into consideration. So we'll break that down once we get to this little price action of the last 2-3 weeks. Right, but 4 hourly though. 4 hourly is importante, very, very important. We understand the major support levels, anchored VWAP as explained as well. Somebody's saying, we actually hit the anchored VWAP from the 2022 bear market low already on Bybit, not on Coinbase. It is slightly lower, but it is becoming a very interesting zone of support. Okay, to get that relief, I would want to see the lows being tested again and see the reaction down here. When I do consider Elliott wave theory on this move, it looks very, very attractive. What I do not know, is it going to be a bounce from here already throughout the rest of the summer, or will this bounce test the lows again and then the larger bounce happens, right, before getting maybe another drop, or obviously throughout the end of the summer to go to the end stages of the bear market, right, if we were to follow the 4-year cycle theory. But it just becomes very, very attractive purely based on how did we drop from 82.7. What information do you have here to suggest what could come next? Breakdown, right, with a big move of $10,000 to come in the next coming days would be lower probability based on the information that we have here. Is it impossible? No, we will always consider the low probability scenario just to be aware if the levels are broken, because we talked about this throughout May. We had an extension here that happened pretty aggressively, and we were aware that it could happen. A couple of levels that if they were broken, you do not consider along, because we could be on the verge of capitulating, and that's understanding what we had here. This could be a finished A, B, and C. So be aware that coming down to test these lows below 60k is likely going to happen throughout the next coming weeks, be it 1 week or be it 4 weeks, right? Be aware because of this information. A lot of people, this did happen faster than I thought, but the overall directional bias was to come down to $60,000, right? So just so things can break down, faster than we think, right? It does happen. So to get a little bit of hate here on this movement down, even though we were suggesting that, it's going to come down here, be it 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks. It happened in 4 or 5 days, very, very quick. So let's break down here a few of the scenarios. Now, if we are looking here for this to be an ABC flat on the formation, there is a main problem here. ABC running flat or regular flat, right? Regular flat obviously coming up to the A wave, running flat, missing the A wave, right? Getting to the 50% Fibonacci, which is the minimum target of a running flat, right? Or the golden pocket, doesn't matter. Running flat area would be here. Is this doable? Is it high probability? I would say for the moment, based on this information that we have on the movement down from 82.7k, that a running flat, regular flat here would be low probability, because this does look more impulsive then corrective. You can fit in a double zigzag. But anyway, a bounce is very much higher probability. So it's all depending, the bearish case scenario would be, this is a wave one, coming to 4.5, maybe another 4.5, right? Just chopping here at the mid 50K levels and then getting the bounce. However, the most bullish case scenario is an ABC flat that has the chance of getting all the way up to the highs above 83K. And the most bearish case is getting a shallow bounce, right? Or a regular bounce to 50% Fibonacci, maybe of this movement down, or even less than that, or maybe slightly more, but getting a lower high basically, and then breaking down. So bounces are looking attractive here. Will it be an ABC flat? Will it be a wave 2 that only gets to the 382 Fibonacci from the high to the low, right? Will we only get to 67K? Will we only get to will we get above the 382 and hit the golden pocket for the wave 2, or will it be an ABC flat? Well, we just don't really know. We need to find out the information. Thanks to the information that I have with this move up and this move down, which is the most important, right, between May and June, I understand that looking for bounces here naturally at support, regardless if it's a double bottom or a triple bottom, right, on the 4.5s, looks more attractive. Looking for longs looks more attractive here. How far will that bounce be? Well, it has the potential of getting above 83K. So I want to be positioned. I want to look for the longs. I want to manage risk, but I know projections, and that's something that you need to develop. You need to follow up, with the local information that happens as you get that bounce, because you might get a very, very strong impulsive movie and a very corrective, rangy, flaggy structure. So if we are in any long positions from the lows, with the information given, I want to maintain in the longs, and I maybe want to even add to the long positions if the information is proven to be strong. The bulls are showing strength here with an impulse. The bears are looking like we're forming a staircase to the downside. So I want to be obviously bullish and add to longs or look for new longs, right? So we will follow up with that obviously in the next coming weeks. So this is the most important move down that we got on the 4-hourly time frame. The move down from 82.7K to the current lows. This is what I want to understand now to basically look for the long trade setups. And that's what we're going to break down. And then obviously just after this, I want to go through the 1-hour time frame and understand this zone. And that's going to give us a better picture of what could develop right throughout the next coming days. If you do like that, smash up the like button. Now, yes, I'm going to get a drink of water, guys, and have a little bit of a stand up here. But much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for joining back. Smash up the like button. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes now. Do a quick scenario of this movement down, levels, waves, and break down the 1 hour to 15-minute time frame to look for the action. Will we get a live trade today? Maybe. There are some local levels that I want to discuss. Price is a little bit boring, right, throughout the last couple of days as we tested 58K, right? A little bit rangy and boring, but there are some levels and there are some setups. So if you're excited for that, we might get a setup on stream. I'm not too sure if we do get a, volatility is low, right? So if it's not on stream, it might be tomorrow, right? And obviously I'm doing the updates tomorrow inside of the trading community. If we do get one of those levels being hit or one of the scenarios, I will follow up, okay, to let the people know this is a good level, I'm taking the trade or I'm not taking the trade, right? Inside of the trading community, if you are interested in that, you know where to find us. Send me the word access in the Telegram. will jump you inside of the trading community after sending you the information. For the moment, I am only in this short position on Bitcoin. Long trade from a few weeks ago got stopped out naturally this last week at break even, and just holding the short here from this daily level and this swing short basically to come down maybe to but sub 59k. That was taken at 66k basically. It was a daily level rejection that was taken on stream a couple of weeks ago. Who remembers that daily level rejection? I didn't go as heavy as I wanted on this short, but I had to take it because I was in a very decent long position from the 60k region, right? So I'm only holding this short at the moment, which 50% of the profits have been taken, and this is going to hedge any new long positions that are taken as well. So new trades, new setups will be followed up in the trading community. If it's not on YouTube, of course. If we're lucky, we might get it on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube, it will be inside of the community if I do enter a new trade setup. Right. I mean, I'm happy with those gains. And for me, it's been a great month of June, based on also May, based on the long and the short, and they were pretty heavyweight, and basically paid off the summer basically with those trades. But I want to get into new trades now, of course. Holiday, it has been expensive just for a week, so time to get into new positions. We're going to discuss 4 hourly and the 1 hourly time frame. Okay, legends, much love. I'm just going to get a drink of water, stand up for a minute, smash up the like button, and I'll go through comment section. Okay. Comment section before we go through this movement down. Levels of support, levels of resistance, and this range over here to look for a new setup. Okay. Much love, everybody. Let's go through that poll. I'm going to go through comments. And first of all, I'll go through comments right now. Is the bear market low near? Wow, 33% says yes. That's, there's 34. There's more percentage. Well, a lot of people say no. Obviously, there's a few options on the no. No, it is sub 50k. That's 32%. And 16% say no, it is sub 40%. 40k, sorry. So yeah, interesting. There is actually a high percentage that believe that we are getting close to the bear market lows. Interesting. Right, comment section time. Mark Dutch. Crypto is correcting already. Just wait till stock market starts correcting. I'm not buying anytime soon. Yeah, that is definitely a good point. When you do have the Nasdaq and the stock market not having a decent major correction of 10-20%, when that happens, you would expect Bitcoin and crypto to take another hit. Of course, it does make sense when we do understand the correlation with the stock market. Kajno, Andy and Donald are secretly meeting in orange light tanning salon. Yes, I was going to say, the tan is looking pretty. It looks like a fake tan, bit orangey, red, brown. You like? Ooh. Yeah, well, I'm meeting with Donald, the orange man, right? Have you been hanging out with Trump? Right. I like for smaller time frame. Okay, no worries. I'll look to time the live stream. Okay, put the timestamps. I'm gonna go from higher time frame to lower time frame. We usually just do 1 hour and 50 minutes on the streams. Damn, geez, you're looking tanned, buddy. Like, smash, and hyped. Gold Star Crypto, thank you very much. Right, Andy, do you track your gain losses in dollars, amount, or percentage? Mainly percentage. How do you figure into trades that July is historically good for crypto? We'll talk about that now on the lower time frames. Andy is auditioning for the Godfather remake. We're sending it, says Dai. Nice cut, Andy. Looks like you got a nice tan as well. Thank you so much. Much love, Andy, my man. Much love to you. Holiday looks good on you, Andy. Welcome back. Thank you so much. MRP, sorry. I'm 16%. How many bear markets have you been through? I've been through 2 bear markets. The 2018 bear market, which is when I got into crypto. That's where I bought my first Bitcoin at $6,000. That was my average entry for my first Bitcoin, because we were trading at the $6,000 for a long time. I do remember this like if it was yesterday. This was just a very long range. This is when I got into crypto, basically, and Bitcoin. It was mid 2018, and this is where I was accumulating for Bitcoin. And obviously we got this drop, and bought a bit more, obviously, as we were moving down. But yeah, my first Bitcoin was in this zone. That's when I got into crypto. I was studying trading and markets in early 2017, and obviously after the 2017 hype, I was hearing about Bitcoin and crypto. I knew about Bitcoin, but this is when obviously everything was hyped up through social media and everywhere, and that's when I decided to start. I did read the Bitcoin Standard and looking more to Bitcoin trading. So it's been 2 bear markets, really. This bear market and this bear market. 2 full cycles. 2 bear markets, 2 bull markets, and now the 3rd bear market, you would say. Anyway, much love. 51k is the level legend. Maybe, right? Andy's glowing so much, it looks like he's running a BTC node in his bedroom. Yeah, it's getting hot in here. Right, let's go through the 4-hour time frame legends. If you have any questions about whatever, if it can be Bitcoin related, even better. Not my tan or my mustache. Which is fun to read as well, but let's try and keep this Bitcoin related, right? I know a lot of people want to know about the analysis and the scenarios. So first of all, understanding this momentum to the downside that we had since 82.7k, you would argue, discuss, right? Clear 3-wave move to the upside. What is this, right? What is this? And I like to detect the possible end formation of something. We love to do that. We're very much aware of this being the end here. We actually detected, and I got wicked out of the short, but I did say on a couple of streams here, this move up to 83k area has a very good chance to be the end of this 3-wave ABC, and this could be the last high before taking out this high. Okay, and this is what we really like to do when we look at Elliott wave theory and understand the projections, Fibonacci, the amount of support that we have, and really start thinking of, can this be the low, right? Or do we have one more lower high and one more low, right? But it is it does make sense to start getting ready for a local bottom formation here. Not the bear market low. It might. I don't think so. But looking for a bounce, just like looking for a rejection from here with an ABC. We were analyzing the. I think I still have it on. Yeah, it's literally still here. The internal counts. I still have it on Coinbase. Internal counts here, and the local internal counts on the 15-minute time frame of this latest move up, looking for a finished 5-wave move up here, coming into 82, 83. This was on streams on the first week of May, right? Really looking for the end stages, and obviously on the higher time frame, it was either ABC and then down, or was it 1 2 1 2? The double 1-2s had low probability based on many factors, but that's what we want to do here, right? I'm in the short, made some profits on the short, missed a lot of this move, but I've managed to short this area, which is good enough. So looking for bounces here as we're testing the lows. When could the local low be in for a larger bounce? And what do we need to be aware of? And what are the levels that we need to be aware of if they are broken, right? It's to not be in that long position. Super important to realize when not to be in the long position if certain levels are broken with high volume and rest of it, right? Because if you don't understand that, then that's where noob traders, if they are in the wrong side of the market, such as looking for longs now, and then we dump down, $10,000, throughout the next 2-3 days, people get hurt, right? If they don't understand the levels, and levels that do not need to be broken, levels that need to bounce as support. Because if we lose them, I am not going to be the one that's in the long trade and underwater getting liquidated on his trading account. I'm not going to be the one. So you want to trade safely. You want to understand the levels if they do not hold and do not get reclaimed. Okay? Because the fake out is the stop loss. The fake out low would be the stop loss, right? If it breaks, there's no long trade. Simple as that. And people do get emotional because of it, right? They think they want to. So many people try to upfront an SFB, right? They would get in as the price is losing a level, believing that it's going to reclaim it. And that is dangerous because you don't have a solid stop loss. And if you don't have a stop loss, you can end up holding that position more than you have wanted to have held that position. It's a very, very common mistake that relatively new traders, even experienced traders, do take, and then they end up losing half of their account or almost their entire account, and then trading is not possible because I fucked up with my emotions. That's why it's not possible, right? Stick to the rules, stick to the levels, stick to your risk management, and it is very, very possible. Right. This movement down, that's what we want to figure out, right? Is the local low in? Do we form another low? Do we form one local low, double bottom, little bounce, and then another low? We're going to break that down right away. So, understanding this price action, which was very, very choppy, overlappy, very disturbing, we got a few scenarios. I'm going to keep it relatively simple with a local 1-2 in this zone. We're going to go with, we'll go with this one, which would be the one that I would prefer here, which is a local double 1-2. Let me just put this a little bit as so. and then another 1, 2 here locally. One. Oh, this is going to be a little bit messy, but anyway, it's fine. Double 1, 2 here internally, with your second wave 1 and 2 having a 3, 4, and 5 being extended. There we go. We got the other scenario. I was getting mixed up here. This would be, yeah, it's actually here. This would be the first major scenario that I would be looking for, based on your wave 3 forming a 5-wave move with an extended 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extended wave 5, sorry, of your higher time frame wave 3. 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is one that is very, 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 very possible. That could mean that the local move down, the local impulse, could be close to being finished. That has to do when we do understand Elliott wave theory, and we understand the most common impulse, which is a 5-wave move with an extended wave 3, which would be this one right over here, for example, right? Extended wave 3 being the most common. Okay. Then we would go with the highest amount of volume move, which is this one, right? This move down. Having a bit of choppiness, which is confusing, right? This could be looking like a bull flag or whatever, right? For people that are bullish up here. You got the multiple 1, 2s to then break down in your wave 3. Because you have your second 1 and 2, you have a 3, 4, and the extended 5th, right? Extended 5ths are actually common when there's panic or there's euphoria. But that's to overall finish your wave 3 here on the higher time frame. Now, you've had a long bounce throughout the beginning of June to mid-June, 3-wave structure, and now you have this movement down to be your latest 5th wave. This is looking at what would be the most common thing, the most common impulse. 5-wave move down with your wave 3 with the highest amount of volume and your most aggressive amount of price action. It's the most common thing, in most common impulse. So when we do take a look at this, there is without a doubt a couple of 1, 2s, right? There is, with no doubt, with this choppiness, no major impulse down here. There's lots of overlap at the beginning. With that said, it does make sense that your wave 3 is having an internal expanded 5th wave. Where it becomes interesting later on is on the 50-minute time frame, and this is why local double bottoms, testing the lows here, coming into support is extremely interesting for a local bounce of a few $1,000s. It all comes down to, yes, the levels are great. Sometimes you only need a monthly naked point of control reaction to get into a long trade. But when you fit in Elliott wave theory, because sometimes it won't make sense to long here based on Elliott wave theory. But with Elliott wave theory combined now, it actually makes a lot of sense to get a reaction here at this 57K zone, 58 to 57, right? It does make a lot of sense when we combine all of this Elliott wave scenario. So double 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, extended internal wave 5 to finish your higher time frame wave 3. Remember, and then the fourth wave, and now the fifth wave. This is where it becomes a little bit tricky on the lower time frame. We need to zoom in on the 1 hour time frame here, but we would literally be looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 internally here. Okay, your wave 3 being developed in this movement down, and this is your invalidation for the impulse coming at 62.2k. Remember, market does move in waves. Movement down an impulse, movement up in the case of a bear market, corrective, very common to be a 3-wave move on the correction. So when we do take a look at this momentum to the downside since the 15th of June, peaking out at 67.2k, and we analyze the waves here on the 4-hourly time frame, we got the push down, perfect, wave 1, the push up, wave 2, push down here, bit of overlap, high volume. You want to see high volume in your wave 3. This does count internally okay for a 5-wave move down as a wave 3. Your clear invalidation when we consider Elliott wave theory rules is no overlap from your wave 4 and your wave 1. So far so good, right? So far so good. This, you might say, well, why not? This is a wave 4. That's your wave 3. And this is already your wave 5 right there. Your wave 4 is very, very quick in time compared to your wave 2, which is not common at all. Okay, so it makes sense that what's developing here would be that wave 4 as explained. Longer range after big amount of volume, and this is where a lot of the long traders could get trapped. I'm in no long position at the moment. I probably would have longed the daily, but I just, you know the deal. I was not trading, but we did get a reaction at one daily level, which we did get a little bounce of a couple of $1,000. If I would have been in front of the chart, I probably would have longed that level. I'm in no longs with this local bounce. It just looks bad. Okay, we'll dive in through the 15-minute right now. So longs, longs are kind of easier here at this point. I want to look for longs at the levels of support. I really want, if we bounce from here and get a massive move of, you know, $4,000 or $5,000, unless I see something on the 5-minute locally, I will possibly miss the move up. I'll probably miss the move up unless we find something on the lower time frames, which we do leave for the trading community. And we're going to be very, very active looking for internal entries on the lower time frame. So if there's something found here for a higher low, instead of testing the lows, that's where I'm interested in longs. Then obviously inside of the trading community there will know, because I'm only in this short position at the moment. Okay, no long trades as we speak, but I am interested in longs and I want to explain that. And if it's not on YouTube that we do take a long, it will be inside of the trading community. That's why send me the word access to join the trading community down below on the Telegram. Okay, if you are interested in that. To know basically where Devil or myself are looking to position on this long trade, right? So going back through, right, hang on a minute, there we go. Going back through this Elliott wave count, this is what would make more sense for me, understanding that we have the last push down. This bounce for wave 4, perfect, nice long in time, that's what you want to see. A couple of 1-2s in the movement here to the downside. Your wave 3 high volume, developing your 4 and 5, which is testing the low. So this is why it's important as well. There's going to be lots of longs here down here, there's no doubt about it. We could take a look at CVD, of course, and there has been some pretty intense bearish CVD divergence. Bybit longs are going absolutely bananas here. Higher highs on CVD, lower highs on price action. We got a local move down today, but we're getting some local bearish CVDs on other exchanges as well. Yeah, on Bybit, Binance US dollar Tether, there are lower lows, higher lows on price action, so this range could continue. We'll cover that now in the next coming minutes. Guys, remember that you do have CVD liquidity as well here integrated in the CVD chart, which is insane. We got the developers creating the MindPillar website with an insane amount of tools, and Delta footprint, right, order flow is going to be integrated as well, and you do have this for free for the moment. You got liquidity heat map, all sorts of different tools that you can use for free. Guys, take advantage of this as it is free. Okay, you got the link down below, valuable free tools, liquidity, CVD, all-time high drawdown, and many other ones. We're going to integrate order flow very, very soon, so it's just got a powerhouse here of tools that you can use for your trading down below. Okay, valuable free tools at mindpillar.com. Let's not get too distracted with CVD, but this would be what I would prefer to see. And I can already tell you, naturally, there are some longs entering here. I mean, we can see it on the liquidity, not only on CVD. You got some longs entering in this zone. And when we do take a look at the liquidity, we've created a nice spike in liquidity, right? We have the bottom catchers, right, that want to try and catch the bottom, obviously, in longs at this 58, 59, 57k region, right? The price action that we had a few days ago was an area that people are entering longs right now to detect the bottom, right? But the bottom catchers, we like to say. So that's created a big spike in liquidity, right, at this 58 to 57k zone. We have that liquidity there. That liquidity is down here, and that would be nice to be swept, right? Sweep it out, stop out all of those early long trades, and then look for the reaction bounce. So when we consider Elliott wave theory combined with that, because this would be a classic double bottom, right? Which, if you do not implement Elliott wave theory on the latest move, you can very much get trapped, right? I mean, if you manage risk, it's all okay, right? If you have a good entry, you got a normal stop loss, it's okay getting stopped out, it doesn't matter. But some people take it very aggressively. So when we talk about Elliott wave theory on the latest move down of the last 10 days, from 67.1, this would be the best count that I can come up with. Unfinished impulsive move down, which your wave 4 clear invalidation is 62.2k, which is the overlap naturally of your wave 1 with your wave 4. This could range a little bit more. It could do a triangle or whatever, and then drop, maybe on Thursday, right? It doesn't really matter, but you do not want the price to overlap 62.2k. And what becomes interesting about this is if we move down after this range that we formed since Thursday, which tested the low, it tested 58k, and we move down from here, that means that I have a very good chance of getting a completed 5-wave move down. And when you have a completed 5-wave move down, coming down into very, very strong support, the bounce is high probability. I mean, we are talking about maybe just a $2,000 bounce. Can it be a $10,000 bounce, right? And it gets to 70k. Maybe it does. It's all about getting positioned and managing that position and managing risk. But when I understand this, if we move up to invalidate this wave 4, then I have to come up with bullish options and look to get into a long trade potentially later on, right? Oh, damn, I missed the low because I wanted to get into a long position after completing the 5th wave here into support, reclaim, anchored VWAP as suggested at the beginning of the stream, right? From the bear market low of 2022, and then get into the long, because I understand that after a 5-wave move, in this case, right, you are looking for that corrective move in this case, right? Will it be a big massive bounce throughout the next coming weeks? It definitely could. Why could it? Because when we do zoom out and understand the overall picture from the drop that we got from 82k in May, it does suggest that a more higher time frame local low for a bigger bounce could be very, very possible. Could this just be, another wave 5, you get your 4 and then 5 and you drop down again? Yes. But it would also suggest a internal bounce based on a 5, 4 and 5, right? You're still looking for that bounce. Will it be a strong bounce or will it be a small bounce? I don't know. But I know that the bounce is very, very attractive because I understand the overall move down from 82.7k high as a multiple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then obviously the larger corrective bounce. If you do have an impulse here, it is common to get to the 4th wave, right? We explained this many, many times, right? After finishing an impulse, your C wave, your corrective move, it is actually common to get down to the 4th wave zone. Many times sweeping up that 4th wave, right? So, looking for a possible bigger bounce to come into this region above 68k would be a decent swing long, right? It would be it could take a couple of weeks to develop, but it would be a $10,000 move, right? And we can make some pretty good gains on a $10,000 move swing trade. So that's something that I'm really, really paying attention to for the next coming days to see, can we test the lows? Can we test the monthly point of control? Can it hold or and reclaim, basically, right? Can we manage to reclaim it, right? We don't know how it's will it break down? I don't know. I need the reaction and get back above that level because the monthly naked point of control is going to be my guideline. So that's a little bit it locally for this scenario. Okay, looking for a possible 5-wave move down, where from this correction we have, looking for a uncompleted 5th wave still, right? And if you ask me, well, why, right? Well, it's literally looking at the waves here, right? This would be nice that it does stretch in a triangle or something. It would be really, really nice because that would increase the probability that this could be a wave 4. Triangles, cannot appear in wave 2s, and extending this without invalidating the wave 1 would be really extremely good to understand that this breakdown, is going to it will likely be that last wave 5 of the higher time frame wave 5 to really, look for that larger bounce coming into July. It would be very, 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 very good. So yeah, extending here for between today and tomorrow, rangy, as long as we don't get above 62.2k. This breakdown is going to be studied throughout the next 1 to 2 days, basically, to look to get into that trade, right? And I think the easiest suggestion here is reclaim that monthly naked point of control. Unless you are, really detecting the impulse from your latest lower high for that fifth wave. But the easiest suggestion, right, if you don't have time and you don't want to look at all of this bollocks, right, Elliott wave scenarios, and you just think, right, a reclaim of the monthly naked point of control is going to be enough for me to look for that long position. Stop loss, give it take a bit of room, and look for that potential bigger bounce into the next couple of weeks. As in simple terms, right? We like to go into detail, but some people don't like it. So this would be one suggestion, as in wave 4 is still developing. I mean, you can go to the 5-minute time frame and you will see a big fat mess in this little range of the last few days since Thursday. Very, very messy. Just want that move down to happen to form that latest fifth wave for the long, right? That's what I want. Will we get it or not? I don't know. But if it does happen, I understand that this could be the last move down, not only locally from the last 10 days, but also the last wave 5. So yeah, that's one thing. Let's talk about the bullish case. We're going to have to zoom in on the 1 hour, 15 minute now in the next coming minutes. But this would be one scenario. Okay. Continue this range since Thursday. Little range of not even $2,000, right? Do not overlap 62.2K and manage to literally come down to the lows. So we get down to the bigger support levels. There's another daily level at 57.3. So those levels are going to be our guidelines. You break it, I'm sorry, I'm not longing. You fake out from it and reclaim either the daily or either the monthly point of control. The fake out low will be my stop loss. I will give it a little bit of a breather, because I would really want to look for a swing long position with the chance of getting above 68K in the next coming weeks. Why is this my stop loss? Because the fake out from the levels and the reclaim is going to be my entry, and the fake out is going to be my stop loss. If there's no fake out and we break down, then obviously I'll be looking at the weekly level, which is down at 54.8K. And, we'll have to, maybe the wave 5 is going to be aggressive, right? Maybe it does dump down $3,000. So, I mean, this would be my option number 2. It gets an aggressive wave 5. It gets to the 54K zone. And that's where we reclaim the weekly, and that's the fifth wave of this movement to the downside. And it's just more aggressive than I thought. And thinking, well, if that is the case, I'm not longing at the monthly point of control or the daily, and I will be looking to long the weekly level for that bigger bounce. Okay, so that's that. What is the bullish case scenario, right? It's not only bearish, this is wave 4. I mean, this is the invalidation is 62.2. What if we do get above that level, right? What would this be? As it does look very 3-wavy down. We're kind of missing a 4-5 here for it to be an impulse. Then what we would have, taking this away, is literally a flat. I would be looking for either a flat or a sideways WXY, because if you invalidate that wave 4 by overlapping 62.2K basically, then we've got a few options. Main option, the easiest main option naturally, would be that ABC flat, where you have your A wave, 3-wave move up, your B wave, 3 wave move down, 3 wave up, 3 wave down. So is there a chance? I mean, this bounce is very overlappy since Thursday. We'll zoom in and I'll have to explain a little bit of the plan here. But I have to say not an easy one. But yeah, we'll zoom in here for the local internal scalp entries. In an ABC flat, what you look for is an impulse, right? In the C wave, right? Will it reach the highs? Will it be a running flat or will it be a regular flat? Just don't know. But overall, this would be the scenario. So, you know, if you do think that the low is in locally, I mean, this would be the main scenario, looking for a flat where your wave 1 is potentially in and now your wave 2, and you just look for either a double 1 2 and then boom, 3 4 5 4 5, right? There is very good support obviously here. We have been getting that reaction, but this is what I would suggest that we would be forming an ABC flat if we overlap 62.2k low here. So taking a look at Fibonacci here, yeah, we're literally at the B wave targets of a flat, literally taking out the low. 1-to-1 to the 1. Well, this is common for a expanding flat. 1-to-1 to the 1 2 3 6 for a regular flat. So this would be regular flat zone, which would just take out the highs. It wouldn't be an expanding one that would have the highest probability. But so these are difficult to catch, I have to say, responsibly. I'm in no long at the moment, so if I don't long like the daily level tap, which I missed, I want to literally catch one of the levels. If we move up $1,000, I don't like getting into this speculative flat, you know, long here, stop loss. You know, I have to have a stop loss, a decent stop loss, so I can't just not have a stop loss. But for this trade, it could be a running flat or taking out the high. I don't want to long here unless I long the daily level reaction for a tighter stop loss and manage risk much better. I'm not longing here. This is me personally, okay? I like to preserve capital. I understand that we could be forming a 1 2 3 4 5. Then I would look to long. But if we were to bounce from here, we'll take a look at the lower time frames and I'll explain what I need to see for a long on the lower time frame. But I'm not in the long right now, just in this short position from basically over a week ago, which is aiming to test the lows basically, and 50% profits have been taken. I mean, the main reason that I'm leaving some of this position is because I want to hedge it against the long attempts that I take. So we're going to discuss the first and most obvious one was the unfinished impulse, right? Unfinished impulse would be ideal for the long either here or the long at the weekly reclaim. Okay, it's just such an obvious scenario, and I just need to remain patient. If we do bounce from here very, very fast now, say in the coming hours, we just get a massive move up, like in a wave 3, I'm gonna likely miss that trade, which is okay, of course, right? There's going to be another opportunity, but this one would not be my trade. So ABC flat, running flat, or regular flat that takes out the highs of the A wave could be a scenario here if you claim 62.2k to invalidate the impulse. So I would be in no rush to short if this level is claimed. because I understand it could be a 1-2, a 1-2, and then bang, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You form an impulse here for this flat. Whoever's going to be looking to short, any move up here, it could be dangerous. We're going to have to need a lot of information, because this is one scenario that could happen. ABC flat, right? So I'm not particularly interested in shorting any bounces from here because of this overall ABC flat potential. Sideways WXY is a possibility. If you have 3-wave up and 3-wave down, there's 2 main corrective structures if you don't get back to the low here with the 4-5, of course, right? One is the flat structure. You want an impulse to the upside developed. I would be looking for shorts as we develop that price action, because I don't know if it's going to be a regular flat, take out the highs at 68k, or is it going to be a running flat? Well, running flat will be interesting only if you have a wave 3 in, right? Then we come into major levels daily or point of control. We'll obviously look at this as we develop in the next coming days in the trading community, or if not on YouTube. But yeah, if we do move up very, very quickly throughout today and tomorrow, and then we form a little rangy structure for a wave 4, where we have the point of control of this consolidation of the last 2-3 weeks, and we have that 4 and 5. Yeah, I mean, I would be looking for a short here, because I would understand that it could be a running flat and we're looking back down to hit the lows. Running flat ABC into resistance. We got a wave 3 in the C wave. We got a 4-5 in the C wave. Yeah, I mean, then I would say, I'm looking for shorts, but I need that price action, of course, to be confident in that short into resistance. So we'll check this in the next couple of days. The trade will be taken if the price action is clear, so no rush for that. Obviously the community will be updated, right? If we're not on YouTube, we are in the trading community legends, okay? So don't miss out in joining the trading community, because if there is a clear trade based on an ABC flat, in that case, to take that short back down to the lows, it will be taken inside of the trading community. Shoot me the word access down below if you are interested in that, okay? Right. What else? Where are we? Regular flat or running flat are the 2 main options for a correction, okay? There is another corrective structure. If you have a 3-wave move up and a 3-wave down, and you overlap the invalidation of an impulse formation, flat is the option, or a sideways WXY would be the other option. It would be a sideways one, because you've already claimed the lows of the start of your wave W, and you're not looking at a double zigzag, because a double zigzag needs a higher low to form another zigzag up. If you claim the lows, you're looking for a sideways WXY. So there's only 2 options for your Y wave. The only 2 main options, that this is what we will be looking for in the next couple of days if the wave 4 is invalidated. So I know what I'm looking for the short, right, in the next couple of days. Impulse running flat into the point of control of the range, fake out, value area high. We're just going to have to be watching this zone with the most important levels. Point of control, value area high would be the main ones, basically, to look for that short trade. It might SFP from here, right? We'll be looking at the couple of options. Regular flat, I think you would have to need a double 1-2 here for it to explode out to claim the highs. A double 1-2 here would make sense. This is the moment I look for the shorts. major levels, resistance, fair value gap. You know, we'll get into that as the price develops, of course, and it's not a short trade that can be taken anytime soon. So I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the impulse up in the case of taking that short trade. Running flat would obviously reject in this area midway from the move down. I need that finished impulse. Regular flat, I need that aggressive impulse, right? To look at the 4-5s after a double 1-2 in this case, right? To execute that short trade back down to the lows. That would be the main target. Sideways WXY is the other option. How can this sideways WXY develop? There's only two options here for your Y wave, and they are detectable. You know that you're either forming this one or the other one. The first main option would be a flat. You need an ABC flat here for your Y wave. Let's just change this. You want 3-wave move up, a 3-wave move down, and a 5-wave move to the upside. If we were to develop, longs are going to be looking interesting regardless down here, as explained, for that bounce, right? You got the impulse to finish and a movement up. If you claim this high over here, this low, sorry, right, which is invalidating, then still longs will be looking attractive based on this scenario. 3-wave up W, 3-wave down X, and looking for a flat here. Sideways WXY just to dump down later on, okay? And then maybe the longs later on, right? We need to go step by step here, but this would be a attractive long anyway, based off the amount of support that we got. It supports this scenario. It's a bounce of, you know, give or take $2,000-$3,000. I'm happy with a day trade of a couple of $1,000s to the upside, but the shorts will be looking more attractive if we can detect that impulse, okay? And you know, everything connects based on resistance as well, based on Elliott wave theory. If we move up, invalidate this movement, the impulse, move down, and then get a bounce, very aggressive move up. Hopefully I'm in the longs. I mean, hopefully, very likely if we do test the lows, I am looking for longs down here. But the shorts can be looking attractive after an impulse here, coming into resistance based on a sideways WXY. I know it is tough to follow up, guys, but when you have experience, it's a piece of cake and you make money, right? So it's just waiting for the right scenario to develop, of course. So I know that this would be one of them. Sideways WXY. When we start talking about sideways WXYs, people can't take it. It's too much. They feel like it's nonsense. I can see the views going down. People do not like complex Elliott wave corrections, but you know, you need to know which options do you have to take the high probability trade. So you either stick with what's complex and good, or you go with the easy moving averages and easy trades, which you can get wrecked on many of them, right? So many of the guys will on YouTube talk about bull flags and moving averages, so you can go and follow them. The triangle structure is the second option if that ABC flat doesn't come to fruition. A triangle is going to take a bit of time. It's going to be slow. It's going to be clunky for a few more days. And what you want to see, obviously, is a triangle formation. Okay, which is probably could be here. If this is the case, then from the lows, we need to have a 5-wave move in the triangle. So it is from the recent lows at 58k, we need an A, B, C, D, E. You need 5 waves. And that's what we get ready for in the next few days to take that high probability short trade. Okay. Once we have the 4 pivots, A, B, C, and D, this is going to be looking very, very attractive, of course, to short the bounce after having the 4th pivot, which is the wave D. This trade is one of the most simple trades to take. And it would be down to the lows, of course. It could break down lower or not, we don't know, but overall the lows would be the target. The stop loss would be your C wave high, because if you claim that high, there's no triangle anymore. So that's the invalidation. Could this be formed in the next few days? Absolutely yes. When does the pattern complete? In a sideways WXY. When you have your triangle finished in 5 waves, okay? This trade only becomes attractive when you have your D wave in, when you have your 4th pivot in. Then the bounce is the one that you want to look for the short. We don't know how the triangle is going to be developed. Will it be a large triangle? Will it be a small triangle? Patience here is required to see the development of the pattern. Okay, so those are basically the main local scenarios that we do have here on the 4-hourly time frame. Invalidation for the impulse is 62.1, 62.2. You don't want that level to be hit. If that level is hit, we're looking for larger corrections, either the flat then down, or either the sideways WXY and then down to the lows. Okay, so looking for these lows to be claimed based on this information is what has priority, no matter the bounce from this point. Okay, looking for this low to be hit again looks very, very attractive based on this 3-wave move down. So it's just not yeah, I think that there's higher probability at this stage, despite the bounce, even getting to 68k, that this is unlikely the low based on this information that I have. 3-wave down. Okay, so yeah, it's I prefer longing once the low is hit, based on the information, based on whatever, if we do not overlap this pivot low at 62.2k, then I'm very, very interested in this being a completed 5-wave move down, and the bounce could be massive in the next couple of weeks, even getting to 70k, right? So this would be much better for the long, really, because if you take out that low and you come back down, I know that this bounce could be poor based on the sideways WXY. Yeah, looking for a flat here to be formed and then down, then the longs will be looking interesting. But yeah, you're just gonna have to move along as we go here when we take a look at this. Right, let's move in on the 1-hourly time frame and check. And this price action is something, right? From the lows of Thursday, we've been ranging $2,000. Very, 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 very boring price action, really, here. So yeah, those are basically the scenario. I mean, we didn't even zoom in on the 1 hour. I mean, 4 hour to 1 hour is not much of a difference. Yeah, we have nothing here based on naked point of controls locally. Yeah, range point of control of this zone is literally at 63.5. That's the most attractive area. It is a nice zone. When we consider the bearish case, I mean, there is a big problem. You know, there is a big problem if you bounce here, and this being the low. The probabilities would suggest that this is not the low for a major, you know, major rally in the coming weeks to get to 75k plus. Because of this three wave move to the downside, it looks very three wavy. If I need to fit an impulse down here in a wave 4, I just don't have it. Don't have a finished move here as an impulse. It's very three wavy. Can't find a 4 here, obviously not. This 4 would be very, very small. I don't have a solid impulse down. This would not be. It would not be high probability when we do consider a finished impulse, because your wave 4 is very, very small and very, very quick in time. This wave 3 looks very three wavy naturally, of course. Yeah, it's just would not be high probability that this is a solid good local low to like really recover strongly in the coming weeks, suggesting that those lows are taken at some point in the near future. Liquidity is pretty good down there. Lots of liquidity are obviously building up. We are, you know, looking for a major relief rally in the coming weeks is very, very much what we would be looking for. Right, we're going to dive in through the 15-minute time frame and talk about this local price action, this little range that we got since Thursday lows. Nice little bounce we are getting now. Very, very choppy overlapping structure on Bitcoin here. This is a big mess. It's a big mess. It's a big mess. It's a big mess of a bounce. It's a very, very choppy, rangy bounce. I don't like this bounce at all. For this to be something bullish, the amount of overlap that we have here is not great. Man, we got a wick there. The 1-2 would not be the scenario. A diagonal. Yeah, a diagonal works here. Just about. Right, let's see. We've seen many diagonals, contracting leading diagonals play out in the last few months on the higher time frame. So I mean, let's go on the lower time frame here for that diagonal. But yeah, what diagonals that we've seen play out on the higher time frame was this one right over here. Very, very we could say expected. I did manage to long in this territory. This was back in April. Very, very good example of a contracting diagonal 3-wave down, and then boom, back up to the highs. This could be the scenario happening here. We had another diagonal in this area, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So let's go through the diagonals here. The diagonal here, sorry. Yeah. You can kind of squeeze one down, but this does look ugly. But diagonal 3-wave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oof, just about. And the 3-wave down into the golden pocket, 7/8 Fibonacci. Yeah, I mean, I this was early this morning, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, but if you would have suggested something bullish from this low, I would have suggested something bullish from this low. It would have been an diagonal and an ABC down here. 3-wave ABC down. Not the greatest looking diagonal, of course. But 3-wave down. Overlapping structure here. Yeah, this would have maybe been an interesting zone to consider a local long. But as we've already bounced from here, looking for the shorts could be something. I think an SFP from the local highs. Right, let's double check here. Session volume profile with the major levels, because in the bearish case scenario, we do not want to overlap from here, right? You need the bearish options, of course. This is the invalidation. Internal wave 4. If this move up is a diagonal ABC down, I kind of like this movement down though, because it was very 3-wavy. You got this pump up, so that means that the movement down from here is likely corrective, meaning that you can take out those highs. So that's done. Obviously this would have been an internal scalp long zone based on the diagonal. So now what looks interesting is to see if we can form a 5-wave move up. Into the 1-to-1 extension. Right, is there an interesting short? Yeah, the only interesting area for a local short that would be in the coming hours, if that is the case, would be the 1-to-1 extension here with an SFP of these highs right over here. Let's take a look at Fibonacci from the highs at 67.2 to the lows. 382 Fibonacci. Yeah, this is a good Fibonacci confluence zone. Okay, so this area becomes very, very relevant for the bears. 61.5k zone, 51.7, 61.6, 61.5. This becomes a very, very strong relevant zone for the bears to get a rejection. You have the 382 Fibonacci from the entire move down of 67.2k. 382 Fibonacci is at 61.5. The 1-to-1 extension, if we do consider this a diagonal, ABC, and we're looking for an ABC, 1-to-1 extension is at 61.6, just $100 above the 382 of the entire move down of 67k from 67.2k. You do have a SFP zone. This could be an interesting area where the price can reject for the bears. 61.5, 61.7. Yeah, that looks an interesting reaction zone. Considerations: 1-to-1 extension with the diagonal as wave A, wave B. You're looking for wave C here. You want a bit of a 5 waver. And this could be very much a rejection point. If it blasts through this zone and it invalidates wave 4, I would not be interested. That's the wave 4 that we're looking at from here, right? You don't want 62.1k to be hit. So this would be the last zone for the local bears for a wave 4. And yeah, it's just interesting, an interesting take if we do get that move up, sweep some local liquidity to the upside, and then come down in an impulse throughout today and tomorrow, right? So yeah, lower high where I would be interested. I mean, this is very, very messy. Could this be something else in a sideways, you know, WXY, or form a triangle as explained before? Also, could we form a triangle here and it just continues ranging and then drops tomorrow? You know, that could be the case, but it's the same thing. I'm interested in longs after the low is claimed at levels of support. So I'm not interested locally here in this mess, what we're forming here. This is just out of speculation of what could we form. Could this be an ABC? If we come into this area, as explained, 1-to-1, 382 from the movement down, I would consider an entry, stop loss at the invalidation of wave 4, just to come back down to the lows. If this does continue ranging, dumps and pumps, and forms a sideways complex, either WXY or a triangle, I'm not paying attention to this. I'll just be waiting for the dump down into my levels of support, where I'm interested in taking the swing long. Of course, you know, this mess since Thursday is just very, very messy. Not particularly interested in this zone to figure out what's happening. But you know, sometimes when we have lower time frame messy structure, it is better to zoom out and have very, very clear the scenarios that I explained, right? Which is, do we get an impulse finished? You know, this could extend in a triangle, it could be choppy, it could be a sideways WXY. If that is the case and we don't invalidate wave 4 for this impulse, wave 5 detection into support is where I'm looking for the long trade, right? Into that monthly naked point of control at 57.9, or a weekly level that we have down at 54.8. Depends on how aggressive that move down is on this wave 5. But the guidelines are the guidelines. You have the monthly naked point of control at 57.9, and there's a daily level at 57.3, and there's a weekly that's if a wave 5 would be extended, like a breakdown, right, of this zone. You don't reclaim these levels, there's no long to be traded, there's no stop loss. You get the movement down, then the weekly would be my next level for that a little extended 5th wave, in this case locally. So, the plan remains the same. Interest zone of longs after the reclaim, weekly level if this zone is broken at 57k area. That's expecting the end stages of a fifth wave, but we need the reclaim, right? You might think if it breaks down, then you would have to come to the conclusion of a double 1-2 here. So it's important that the levels do reclaim for that bounce. On the other side, looking for the ABC flat would be one. I'm not very, very fussed just because we have a lot of noise here on this bounce. I like to zoom out and check the last couple of weeks. What can we develop, right? So the impulse would be one. If that is the case, I'm looking for the longs down at the levels of support. If we form a bounce up here, and you might think, oh man, we bottoming out, I didn't long. I know that the probability that of this being an unfinished low, this is a poor low based on a 3-wave move down. I'm looking for the detection of that impulsive move for either a running flat or a regular flat. I need the impulse, okay, in that wave 3. I need a big volume break up with the 4-5s looking at levels of resistance up here. Do we get the choppiness after the big move? Do we get it into resistance? That is the clear short. If we get the stop into resistance, local double top, I'm looking for a impulsive move up here to detect the 5th wave in resistance for a ABC flat to come back down to the lows. This is the shorting area. If I get this information, if it breaks out, or we form a double 1-2 in that case, boom, 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 right, or a triple 1-2, then obviously you look for the triple 4-5 as well. Then this becomes the level to short once you get that high volume breakout and you can detect that impulse. So then it's a regular ABC, right? But I need the impulse information here, not a bunch of noise which can morph into a triangle, a sideways WXY, right, on a very local time frame. So I'm not interested in this noise, right? When it becomes noisy on the 5-minute, 15-minute time frame, I just need to zoom out a little bit, right? Not even too much, 1 hour, 4 hour, and understand what could develop, what I'm looking for on the development and how to look for it, right? Which is a running flat or the regular flat. And obviously the other scenario is the sideways WXY, right? There's only a few options. We just need to know how to detect them. And this would be the other one. Sideways WXY. And I do get it from unexperienced traders, right? Trading is all about waiting for the pattern, waiting for the complete formation to understand if we do get the reversal or we get continue to the downside. And in this case, if you ask me, how do I know it's a WXY? Well, what we need to see is a 3-wave up, down, and impulse up. This is what you need to see here for a sideways WXY and your Y wave in a flat. 3-wave up, 3-wave down, and a flat in Y. You need to claim the highs, claim the lows, and the highs again of the highs that have been created, right, between today and tomorrow maybe. You get this price action. This is going to be the zone to look for shorts after detecting the impulse. It might jump into perfect resistance, which is the point of control. That will be the shorting zone. This would likely be between Wednesday and Thursday, I would assume, based on timing. But this would be the short trade that I would be looking for. But, I just need this price action. Once I see this, then I know that this could be the pattern that we're looking for, impulse down. Just a flat and Y. If this forms a boring range and it, moves up, it moves down, it moves up, it moves down, then obviously The triangle is what I'm looking for in the Y wave, and this would be almost a guaranteed breakdown to the lows again. If you form a triangle from the lows, yeah, you just realize that sideways WXY here is going to be the highest probability pattern, of course. But I need those 5 pivots, at least 4 basically, which would be the D point. The 5 waves, right? 4 waves are needed. 2 higher lows, 2 lower highs. You want to short the E wave, and you have a clear invalidation. Obviously, doesn't matter where you're looking for the bounce to enter here in the lows. Risk to reward is not going to be massive because the lows is the target. The lows is the target. You can't expect that we're going to go down to 40k on the breakdown. It might, but your first major target is the lows. So that's a little bit of what we got in this range of the last couple of weeks. A little bit of too much noise here locally. And that's basically what I'm looking for. It is time for comment section. Let me just get a drink of water. And we'll go through the comment section, see what the people are saying. We can take a look at other charts. Okay. Oh yes. Ethereum is pumping. Bitcoin's pumping a little bit. I am only in the short trade, no long trade for the moment. 50% of profits have been taken of this short trade that was taken on the 17th of June. This was actually on a live stream. Daily level rejection. Down at the lows, more than 50% has to be taken as profits. And not in a long, but obviously wanting to long. Will I miss the long? Are we going to pump up to 67k, right? Plus in the coming days? I don't think it's gonna happen. Obviously the ABC flat, higher time frame ABC flat is without a doubt an option. This move up, the only main bullish option is the diagonal. And if you are really speculating that this movement to the upside is a diagonal up, then the retracement, what is common after a diagonal, right? This would be this scenario here, right? If you are speculating that this could be a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your wave A or your wave B, you want to get in on the pullback. What is common after a diagonal is retracing to the golden pocket, 7-8 Fibonacci. So, this is what is common as a retracement after a diagonal. So, this would have been the longing zone, which I did not get into. So, I'm not going to long up here naturally. But yeah, this is I've just been taking a look at this. A lot of noise. There is a lot of noise here. And this could still be 3-wave up, correction, and a flat here for a sideways WXY, since Thursday. It's just very, very messy. And there's no high probability trades that I can take in this local range since Thursday. For me, it's just a bunch of noise. Let's go through the comment section as promised. And Relief, yeah. CBM, my man, how are you doing? Mattia, the man himself. I've been with CBM, Mattia, for a week watching tennis, playing tennis. Much love to you, my man. Hope you arrived well. And we'll be speaking soon, of course. Relief rally to 70k, right? I think that is the main idea on the higher time frame, right? We're building a lot of liquidity to the upside. We're testing the lows. We are at a major demand zone from 2024, right? major demand zone. We still have the monthly naked point of control. A bigger relief, right, is what we are looking for, right? Much love to you, ZBM. Guys, go and check him out. If you don't know who he is already, check him out. Are you interested to scalp short? Only level that I want to scalp short is this one over here that I did talk about here throughout this momentum to the downside. It would be the 382 Fibonacci at 61.5 and the 1-to-1 extension. That is if we do basically understand this as a diagonal, right? Understanding this as a diagonal, wave A, wave B, and wave C at the 1-to-1 extension, which is in confluence with the 382 Fibonacci of this movement down. We might have some more Fibonacci confluence here from this latest lower high to the low. Yeah, 50% Fibonacci. There's good Fibonacci confluence. It's the only level that I would want to scalp short, really. 382 from the entire move down of 67.2k high to the low. 382 Fibonacci from the latest lower high to the low. 50% Fibonacci, and it would be the 1-to-1 extension if we are speculating on an ABC, A wave being a diagonal. 1-to-1. There's lots of Fibonacci confluence at 61.5 to 61.6. It's a Fib confluence zone, and that's, I would be interested in a scalp short if we hit that level on the stream. That's, this is a very messy range, very messy. This could turn into a longer triangle, right, for that wave 4 as suggested at the beginning of the stream. Sideways WXY as well is possible. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 breakout. Wave 1 would be the diagonal. Where we are at the moment, I'm personally not interested in either shorting or longing. If we do get that move up, this would be my shorting zone. Stop loss, I would be happy to have it as in the wave 4 invalidation, 62.1. But this would be an area that we could reject. Let's get the anchored VWAP from the high. Yeah. No anchored VWAP confluence. So yeah, no scalp short or long. Where we are at the moment, very boring range. Missed the long. Should have hopped in, Jamie. Yeah. I mean, when we do zoom out on the higher time frame, I'm not sure if if we do get a major bounce and we pump like $4,000, then I would say, damn, I missed the long. But as explained, this is a poor low to be formed. I'm not feeling the long at the moment. So let's see. We'll see in the next coming days if we do get that push down in that 5-wave move down. I've explained the longing scenario, and if not, a sideways complex WXY, and then move down, and then the long will be the one that's entered. All been explained the first 2 hours of the stream. I wouldn't say that this is a miss long position. We only bounced $1,000 literally from the lows. So it's very messy, very messy, rangy structure. It could be multiple scenarios. What is going to be clear is that if we move down from this zone without overlapping this pivot, it's going to be clear. And that's what we like in trading, right? We want something clear. When it's very choppy range, that could be a longer triangle. It could be a sideways WXY. It could be an ABC. We come up and then we go down. You know, when it's not clear, then there's no clear trade, right? So if we were to move down from this range without overlapping this low, it would be a clear 5-wave move down that I would be looking at, and this is the levels of support that look interesting. Monthly naked point of control, right, as explained, and a few daily levels. Well, one daily level left really. Weekly is a little bit lower, but these are the levels that would be looking attractive to reclaim, and it would be a clear 5-wave move potential. That's if we do not overlap wave 1, of course. So you're looking for the longs after the reclaim here, would be very, very clear based on Elliott wave theory, based on reclaim of good support, monthly naked point of control, daily. If those levels are lost, we would be looking for a little extended 5th wave down to the weekly, and that would be my zone. Detect the 5-wave move into support to look for the long. So patience is very much required here. And if we were to bounce, the probabilities of having a larger corrective structure here have higher probability. ABC flat would be the most bullish short term, but you know, when we are looking for a C wave, to long a C wave of an ABC flat, where you need to get in is in your wave 2, right? Your wave 2 or your second wave 2 could be a scenario. That's where you want to long, right? When you have local bullish market structure, and if you can detect that wave 2, which, I mean, in this case, the wave 2, it looks, the wave 1 and 2 is, I mean, you can obviously speculate on it. Would be a diagonal, right? And you know, if you want to get into a wave C of a flat, you want to get into your wave 2, right? And yeah, that, I mean, 60%, yeah, 618 Fibonacci from this low to the high, and the 7.8 with stop loss at the low would have been the smartest entry, right? To speculate on this being a wave 2, basically, right? Not only claim the highs, but really break out in the coming days after a diagonal, after a contracting diagonal here. Your common retracement is golden pocket to the 0.88, which we literally hit early this morning, 2 a.m. my time. And stop loss is the low. There's no more to it. That's if you're speculating on, you know, an impulse to the upside to be developing here at the moment. So there is a lot of noise as well with this movement up. Very, very noisy price action. Full moon tomorrow. That is something interesting. The previous full moon did not work out very well for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the moon phases here. It is interesting to look at the moon phases. What's going on? Full moon. Well, full moon now. We already have full moon. Yeah, this full moon didn't play out very well. This one got the bounce. This one did get the bounce. This one did get the bounce naturally. This one did get just a quick move up, then correction, then move up. New moon in a bear market has been very, very good for local tops. This was a local top. We did continue up later, but then obviously new moon and new moon here also. 2 week, yeah, basically Yeah, 2 weeks ago, basically. Yeah, obviously, yeah, 2 weeks with the moon phases. Very, very accurate new moon right there. And full moon. Will this full moon get the nice rally, right? Well, in that case, like I mentioned, an ABC regular flat here is doable. If you are going to trade based on the new moon, you know, I have to say the opportunity was very, very early this morning on midday with stop loss at the low. This would have been your entry zone based on that contracting diagonal to look for either a double 1-2. If we do get most bullish case scenario, so if we were to get the move up here, right, say that we do move up, then we get the rejection, and we, you know, if you are going to be speculating on a double 1-2 here to the upside, I would have to say that, you know, not FOMOing in, of course, we don't FOMO in on any trades, but the opportunity, if we're going to go with the full moon phases, and which just kicked in, your most bullish case scenario would be a double 1-2 here. So you need a push up to claim the local highs of this range at 60.8k, which we're very close. We will likely claim them in the next coming hours, if not minutes. I mean, if it does, what, you know, if you missed along here when we talk about the bullish case, and the bullish case is forming an ABC flat with the possibility of forming a double 1-2 here to then break out in the 3-4-5, right? Then the new opportunity would be either early tomorrow morning or midday. We can definitely speculate on this once we get the push up, because you need some kind of an impulse to the upside claiming this high. Will it be another diagonal? Well, we only got one high, one low, one higher low. You know, it could be another diagonal. That would be relatively rare. But the idea here would to be having some kind of a 5-wave move up and then the correction down for a higher low. Another diagonal here, just like this one, very messy. Another diagonal. 1-2, 1-2. I mean, the opportunity would be tomorrow morning or so. And your stop loss, you know, if you're going to speculate on a third wave breakout, we need that retracement just to manage risk a little bit better. But this would be the entry point. I would be happy to put the stop loss beneath this low. This would be your invalidation if we are going to be forming a double 1-2. And obviously much higher prices because you're expecting a third wave breakout. But price needs to prove itself that it's pushing up. You have some kind, even if it's a diagonal, it doesn't matter, some kind of a 5-wave move up developed between today and tomorrow that gets above 60.8, and then you know, you usually get a deep retracement, a sharp retracement after a diagonal. So I would want to see price coming down at least to the golden pocket from the local lows of today to the highs. And yeah, maybe that could be an entry, because what is very common after a diagonal is get a pullback to at least the golden pocket, maybe even 7-8. So yeah, the long speculating on the bullish case scenario, I need a 5-wave move up, impulse diagonal, it doesn't matter. The double 1-2 would be the speculation. I have a clear invalidation, which is 58.8k low. I have a clear zone of entry. That's if we were to form a diagonal. If it's a regular impulse, it could be more shallow, overlapping 60.8k at least. But the stop loss is clear. Stop loss is very, very clear. Entry we would have to see the impulse up. If we get a 5-wave move up by tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, then the pullback could be interesting. We could be leaving a nice naked point of control when we take a look at the session volume profile. Yeah, I mean, today we're leaving a good point of control here at 59.7, which would be, nice with a golden pocket from the recent lows of today to the highs wherever we form them. We don't know really, so we'll be having a naked point of control. Yeah, this could be analyzed tomorrow, maybe for a long, if we do get that 5-wave move up down into a good support zone, and we might be a long opportunity. Okay, any trades that I would be looking for in the next 24 hours, guys, will be mentioned inside of the trading community. For the moment, I'm only holding the short position from 2 weeks ago, which has been pretty decent profits. I'm happy with this. No long trade at the moment, but I'm looking to enter. I didn't catch the low, but it's not all about catching the low. It's understanding the potential bullish market structure. 112, right? When we look at, I did not manage to short the ultimate high 2 weeks ago here at 67.2, but I did manage at 66.2k based on a daily rejection, multiple 1-2s possible. I think it was diagonal basically on the bearish case. So if we do have multiple 1-2s to the downside or a diagonal and a move up to the golden pocket and a daily level, which was the short from that was taken here, we don't need to catch the ultimate high. Local information will help us to understand if there is a new opportunity. So I have no long from here. If I would have analyzed early this morning, the chart, maybe I would have considered the long here. But if that is the case, if we are going to be moving up, we do have a chance of a double 1-2 here. So a double 1-2, you're always going to get that pullback, right? Or if you have a double 1-2 in this case, this was mainly more a diagonal, but you are going to get that move back up if you form a double 1-2, which is going to give you your short trigger. You don't need to short the ultimate high. So I'm going to remain patient here for the long. I would prefer lower, as explained throughout the stream. I would prefer the lows to be claimed. But if we do have a clear impulsive move up between today and tomorrow morning, and we get that pullback overlap, we got a range point of control, the golden pocket from the latest lower high to the high, right? It can be a long zone without a doubt. Just because I missed the lows of Thursday or the lows of today, Monday, early this morning, it doesn't mean I cannot long on a higher low potential for that breakout in a wave 3, right? But there's no way I could long here, obviously, with the information that we have. As explained, this could be very much a triangle. Could be forming a triangle here. A, B, C, D, E, and it just dumps down, right? It's just not too many scenarios in this range, sideways WXY or that triangle as explained, because we could see this being overall a wave 4, right? As your invalidation is 62.1. It's just not worth it here for me to do anything. Okay. Trade will be taken. I've just come back today, so trades will be taken. Just requires a little bit of patience here. Full moon tomorrow. Full moon is already in. ABC is also possible in weekly. ABC. Let me double check. On the weekly, somebody's saying here on the weekly time frame that we could have an ABC flat. Yeah, it is a possibility without a doubt. That's if we consider this movement down. Yeah, I've explained this at the beginning of the stream. That would be the most bullish case scenario for the coming weeks, naturally, which is having an impulsive move to the downside with an ABC here, ABC flat. It is also one scenario, yeah. However, the movement down does look a little bit more impulsive. This is clearly a three-wave move up, but the movement down here is favoring more of an impulse. You could fit in a double zigzag, however, this is aggressive with the middle price action in the middle. This does look more impulsive. Okay, so is it possible? Absolutely. We cannot deny that, you know, this could be an ABC flat, but this does look more impulsive. You know, probabilities for this to be a 5-wave move rather than a 3 has a higher probability. It does have priority. Legends, a regular ABC. How to read CVD on MindPillar websites. Super simple. Okay, MindPillar website, you got here your CVD lines. All right, you can choose aggregated, which is mainly multiple exchanges. For me, the most accurate is Bybit US dollar, but you got Bybit US dollar Tether. You got many different ones, and reading CVD is quite simple. Higher highs, lower highs on CVD. Higher highs on CVD, lower highs on price action. Bearish CVD divergence. We do have bearish local ones, okay, on Bybit. And if you do have lower lows on CVD and higher lows on price action, which we did get here on a few exchanges, mainly on Binance US dollar Tether, you can see the white line creating lower lows and higher lows on price action. There's a bit of a CVD battle here in this range, which is just making it very messy and very confusing. So clear scenarios will be given as explained what I am looking for, okay? And a big trade is on the horizon. It's just not quite yet in for today. More will be followed inside of the trading community. So if you are interested in knowing what will be my next big trading position or devils, you know where to find us. It's down below, the first link, Telegram community, and that's where we'll be posting next big potential trades. Thank you very much for joining today's live stream, guys. I'm back after a little week holiday, and I will see you guys tomorrow.